Howdy, y'all. This is Presley, and this is the Live a Little podcast. And today I'm going to be conversing with a Utah fan. I am an OU fan. We're going to be discussing the college football playoff and who deserves more to get in. I'm going to learn a little bit about him. It's going to be a good time. I hope y'all enjoy. I have a lot of work to do on this, but it's going to be a good time. Enjoy. All right. So I got Jeff here. I found him on Twitter. I saw he made a couple comments on OU fans. I didn't want him to think we're all very bad, so I figured I'd bring him on here. I just got a couple questions for you about Utah football because to be completely honest with you, I have no idea how good Utah is. All I see is that they're ranked 5 right now in the college football playoff.
Yeah, I find that sentiment to be pretty common. Not a lot of people watch Mountain Time Zone football, so we're a little bit unknown considering top 10. So
My first question, like for Utah itself, like who's their rival? Like I know OU has we call Oklahoma State a rival. They're not. It's super lopsided, but like Texas is our main rival. Who's Utah's main rival?
BYU is the main rival. There's a
Okay.
lot of animosity.
Do they play every year?
Yeah, Utah's taken a couple breaks since joining the Pac-12 and BYU going independent. They canceled for 2 years to play Michigan. They've canceled 2 years in the future to play Florida, but they play almost every year.
All right. So did you actually go to Utah, or
Yeah,
you just
yeah.
from Utah? Okay, so you actually went to Utah.
Yeah, born and raised here. I've been a fan my whole life, but I did attend as well.
Yeah, I grew up in a family big OU fans, so I do plan on eventually going to Oklahoma, but kind of thinking about taking the junior college route first. But I do want to go there eventually, so I can't just say people can't just say, "Oh, you're a bandwagon,"
Right, but you can
Uh,
be a fan. You were raised that way. It's cool.
yeah. Um, so one of the first questions I actually came up with whenever I was like thinking these questions out and stuff is looking at your Twitter, right? Your profile picture. Is that you?
Yeah, the U in my head, that's from College Game Day's first visit to Utah. Actually, when I was a student, it's been a long time ago, but they posted it on their website for months. So they took the photo, and I thought it was funny.
That's awesome. But it's actually you.
Yeah, yeah. So I've lost some of my hair, so I can't shave the U into it anymore. But I used to do it all season, every season for 10 or 15 years.
No, that's actually awesome. I've never seen anybody that committed. I don't even know if I'd ever do that with any like facial hair or tattoo or anything like that. That's actually pretty cool. um, I have two back-to-back questions for you.
Okay.
Who's your favorite current Utah player, and who's your favorite all-time Utah player?
I'm a defensive guy, so a current player, probably Jalen Johnson. He's a cornerback. He's a junior, but he'll be leaving to the NFL. He announced that when he signed that it was a 3 years and done deal. He's a lockdown man press corner. They leave him on an island all the time, and he takes away like a third of the field usually. All time, Eric Weddle. He's now a safety
Gotcha.
for the
Yeah.
for the Rams. But yeah, Weddle's a great dude on and off the field, and just he's
I
like
know he's good,
every
man.
he epitomizes everything that Utah's about. Like hard work. He's slightly undersized, slightly, but it will outwork anybody. So that's how he's been in the league so long.
And it sticks with your defense, your
Right,
defensive mind.
right, right. That's why those guys immediately come to mind because I'm a defensive guy. Like Steve Smith played here, so the little trash talking wide receiver that I love, but
Carolina.
defense wins the day.
No doubt. Who's your favorite sports team outside of the University of Utah? So like professional level.
Uh, Honestly, like I don't follow professional sports hardly at all. Like I have mild interest in the jazz, but it's not passionate. We're all college sports. Like I've got basketball and football season tickets and gymnastics. Like we're
That's actually
all in
awesome.
with.
I've never I've never talked to anybody who's like gone to a gymnastics thing for college. So that's pretty cool.
Well, Oklahoma's team is damn good, so
I know.
there's got to be some
Yeah,
of
they're
them.
very
Yeah,
good.
yeah, we've been to traveled to national championships a couple of times, so we've seen Oklahoma in person a couple of times. So, yeah,
Um, I figured I'd ask. Why did you decide to come onto the podcast with me today?
you just asked, like, whatever. You asked if I wanted to talk football. I'm always happy to. So, sure.
I mean, honestly, I thought it was going to be a lot harder to find people, and I ended up DMing you and one other guy, and y'all both responded and both seemed very happy to like talk to me. I was like, I thought this was going to be a lot harder to find guests, especially because like when I decided I wanted to do this, right, I wanted to bring a Utah fan on because it's like the conversation's OU in Utah right now. Like, who's going to get in? Who has the better shot at getting in
Right.
eventually? Like whether it be after this weekend, if both of them win and Georgia loses as we all expect them to, which one has the better resume to get in?
Right. Yeah, we
Uh,
all need Georgia to lose. That's the biggest
oh
key.
yeah,
It's go Tigers.
I
After
don't,
that, then the debates start.
I don't expect them to win. If I'm being honest with you, I
Right.
don't think Georgia's that good of a team. I don't think a lot of the SEC is as good as they're hyped up to be, but
That's a permanent thing that happens. You rank all your
uh,
teams, and then you have ranked wins because every one of them got ranked in the preseason, and the league
exactly.
was full.
It's like Texas. It's like OU beating Texas this year. Like, it looks good on paper, but no, they were a terrible team. They're really bad. And then like Utah losing to UCL or USC because USC didn't look good, and then they come into the year finish out 8-4, which I kind of impressed me. I didn't expect them to be that good. I'm sure you didn't either because you actually follow the Pac-12 a little bit.
Right, like they're way improved over last year. Those their freaking receivers are so good. If they decide they care, they're hard to beat. They just don't. No one in LA cares about football. They're all just trying to get to the league.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about that anymore because weren't they the first state to pass the whole college football paying thing?
Right. Yeah. Well, I think it was inevitable to happen sooner or later. So that just kicks the can faster.
I mean, I accidentally brought it up. I don't have it written down here, but do you agree with all that? The paying players and college athletes kind of thing?
Like, I don't think the school should pay him. Like, the schools currently give him the per diem, whatever it is. That's great. But name, image, and likeness. Like a football player that wants to run a camp during the summer can't do it right now. That's kind of a joke. People think it'll just help football players and just like stars. I actually think the people that'll help the most are like linemen running camps or gymnasts. Currently, a gymnast almost never goes to college, Oklahoma or Utah or UCLA, after being on the Olympics because they'd have to turn down promotion, have to turn down making money off that Olympic thing, and now they'll be able to. So I think it's a benefit as long as the school's not involved in how they get that money.
Mainly, the only reason I'm excited for it to come back is the whole NCAA games because Madden's a
Right,
joke.
right, right. Yeah, that would be fantastic.
So you said you had season tickets to the football games this year?
Yeah, I haven't missed a Utah football game like in the state of Utah in 19 years or something.
Really?
Yeah, we go to all of them in state, and then we usually travel out of state with them 4 or 5 times a year.
I'm I actually live in Texas, so I have a little more access to OU football because Big 12 is all down here. But I actually I went and watched them play Baylor. That was a rough game and a really good one at the same time. Kind of
Right.
bounced back and forth. And then last weekend I went and watched them play Oklahoma State. And I don't care what anybody says, Oklahoma State is not good. I don't know how they got ranked 25 tonight. They especially without their two best players. Like
Right.
they have Chuba Hubbard. That's it. And he didn't even do a season averages against OU, and OU's like a defense, like transition year. Are you worried at all about Friday?
Yes and no. Like, Oregon's a good team. Their O-line is incredibly elite, and they've got athletes all over the field. But Utah, a switch flip like I've never seen in a football team after that USC game, and I cannot imagine Utah losing. I'm always nervous. Like, coaches talk about that winning is a relief and losing is miserable. Like, that's how invested we are. So I almost feel that way. I'm always nervous, and we hate losing more than we enjoy winning.
Well, yeah, especially when you come from a school that shouldn't go 7-5 and 8-4. You're expected to get double-digit wins every year, which is why when OU lost to Kansas State, it literally ruined that whole week for me.
Right, I'm
terrible.
sure. Yeah, that is not a loss people expected. And be honest with you, around here we celebrated it a little bit.
I'm sure you did.
We've got to watch. We've got to watch those other teams lose. Like, once we dropped that one to USC, we needed a bunch of help. So,
well, especially with how weak the Pac-12 is. I mean, like the Big 12, I feel like they're not weak. They just don't get the respect they deserve, while the SEC gets way more respect than they deserve. And then the Pac-12 is kind of, I mean, they're not the ACC, but
right. I was going to say the ACC is like Clemson and then a bunch of subpar teams. The Pac-12, like, what sucks is they just beat the crap out of one another. Like, teams that shouldn't win, everybody goes 5-4 or 4-5, and it sucks because then no one gets any respect.
Well, yeah, no, I can see it, especially because I'm a Big 12 fan. You get to watch, like, you have to go play every team at least once, and then being an OU fan, you have to go watch them play another team for the second time in the season. And that's just like 2 years ago was probably the best team OU's ran out this decade, and like watching them play TCU was easy. Like, you figured it was going to be a blowout, and then I honestly thought they were going to playing Alabama in the national championship, but still not happy about that game. But last year, like losing to Texas and then coming back, Texas showed the other side of that, where it's hard to beat a team twice in 1 year by losing to OU. And now, after what happened in Waco, I'm not even going to get to watch it, but the game this weekend, I guarantee you it's going to be probably the best game on Saturday, because I honestly think Utah-Oregon is going to be pretty good. I do have Utah winning, but you never know.
Right.
It's going to be a fun one to watch. Let's see here. If OU and Utah win, will it be a close fight for the final spot than if Baylor were to beat OU?
Like, I think Utah is the debate. On the ranking show tonight, that's pretty much what they talked about. They kind of sarcastically dismissed Baylor. Like, yeah, like, they've had a good 3 weeks, and so, yeah, they're ranked 7th, but not even any debate. OU's clearly got a better win, and they have a better opponent this week, ranking-wise, but I think Utah, like, if you watch Utah enough, Utah's top 10 in efficiency in offense and defense. One of only 3 teams in the country that's top 10 in efficiency on both sides of the ball, with Ohio State and Clemson. So, like, they passed the eye test, and their average win margin since the USC game's like 29 points. They're just destroying everyone. Oklahoma's got, on paper, a slightly better strength of schedule, and they'll have a top 25 win on top of the championship game. So I think it's the debate. I think those teams, assuming LSU wins and both Oklahoma and Utah win, that's the biggest question mark Sunday morning.
How do you feel like this season went? Like, let's say Oregon wins. How do you think this season went? Like, how do you feel this season went overall?
Like, coming in, the expectation was you better win the division. Like, they won the division last year without the quarterback and the running back the last 3 games of the year. Best running back in school history, and he was injured with 3 games to go, and they still somehow won the division. So the expectation was to win the division, expected to make noise. I think like it's hard to complain about 11-2 if especially if they get a Cotton Bowl berth, but like right now the the expectation is to play at least in the Rose Bowl, and
Yeah.
it would be disappointing if that doesn't happen.
I mean, if I'm being honest with you, I would much rather see Utah make it than Oklahoma, even as an OU fan, because I personally believe this season is kind of a fluke. As I really think OU just is overachieving in a transition year with a new defensive coordinator, uh, a rental quarterback who I can't stand if he runs the ball 28 times a game. Like watching him against Oklahoma State, he ran the ball less than the running back and they blow the team out. But if he runs the ball more than a running back, you have an Iowa State game where the final score is 42-41. It's not easy to watch.
Right. Like I did think he was gonna run away with the Heisman after the first month of the season, but that's calmed down a little bit. Right.
Yeah. Joe Burrow came out of nowhere. And
But
OU lost Kansas State.
Oklahoma's defense has not impressed the world. They have to outscore some dudes to.
Well, I mean, honestly speaking, I think this year it's been the defense that saved most of these games. Baylor was driving down the field like at the end of that game, they come up with a big pick. Baylor ran 16 plays of offense in the second half. So I mean, like I feel like they played as good as they could in that game specifically, but it's hard to play good whenever your quarterback like you get a big stop and then third play of your drive, your quarterback puts the ball on the ground, which happens way too often.
Right.
Out of the top three locks, I'm gonna call them locks. So LSU, Clemson, and Ohio State. Like I feel like all three of them can lose and still make it.
Right. I think.
Which
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
which one do you think Utah would be best set to beat?
Probably not Ohio State. I think Ohio State's the most.
I think Ohio State wins it all.
I think Ohio State's the best team in the country. I think they're the best on both sides of the ball, like most all-around team. Uh, Utah's defense is so freaking good at stopping a run and pass. I think LSU, but I don't know if they can slow them down enough. Clemson, I'm just not even convinced whether or not they're good. Like you talked about the ACC being so horrible, they make the Pac-12 look like world beaters. I'm so Clemson's a hard read. So I'd say probably LSU, mostly because I think LSU's D is suspect.
Yeah, no, I have LSU as the team OU would be able to get by. I think Clemson Ohio State's going to be a really good game. I do think Ohio State's the best team in the country. I just feel like LSU's going to end up on top because they're going to beat number 4 Georgia, and we talked about the SEC being the SEC, and I think most likely if you beat the number 4 Georgia, you're going to propel to the top no matter who Ohio State beats. And unless they do their job right and they're like, hey, this actually is the best team in the country. I don't care what the resume says. I promise they're the best team in the country. But I feel like 4 beating 1 is a lot more likely this year than it has been in the last couple of years.
Yeah, like I think it'll be interesting to see. Like I said, if it's Ohio State, I'm not sure anybody beats Ohio State. But if LSU does jump, I think LSU's at least somebody that somebody could get. Like clearly, there's 3 teams that are on a different tier. They're all undefeated. They're don't have many weaknesses, but I think LSU has the most exposed weaknesses on the defensive side of the ball specifically.
All right, you back?
Yeah, sorry.
All right. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's cutting out again. I don't know.
Okay, this is being fun.
Okay, now I can hear you again.
All right, good. Where you left off was LSU having the weakest uh, or most vulnerable, biggest vulnerability. I can't talk. You understand what I'm
Right.
trying to say? The biggest vulnerability.
I think they have the one weakness that's been exposed the most of those top three. Like Ohio State's been so good on both sides of the ball that there's not a lot of weaknesses that have been shown. Clemson just hasn't been tested enough. But LSU clearly gives up points in yards. Like, so there's at least weaknesses to be shown. They just want to outscore everyone, which is so opposite of every LSU team in the history of LSU football until this time.
Oh, no doubt. I honestly thought LSU was going to be this good last year, but on the other side of the ball, I thought there were a lot of players on the LSU defense that was going to be a lot better than they are. I thought Grant Delpit was probably going to slide in and end up a top 3 pick, but he hasn't played as good as I thought he was going to this year. Meanwhile, with Ohio State, like you were saying, Chase Young's in the Heisman race, which college football hadn't seen that happen since Ndamukong Suh. I was barely even a college football fan at that point, but
Yeah.
if there's anybody that really deserves the Heisman, it's probably him. But he's not going to get it because Joe Burrow is having
Right. I
a
was going to
Kyler
say,
Murray, Baker Mayfield season.
even if they should, TM isn't going to win it, unfortunately. The best quarterback on the best team wins the Heisman.
Yeah, pretty much. Or best offensive team. I don't know if I'd say best team. Or Josh Fields would probably be getting it this year.
It's true. That's fair.
So, I wanted to ask you, what is a specific example, if there's one you can give me, of OU fans being OU fans? Like, trust me, I know, very arrogant.
Whoa, hello?
So, am I cutting out?
Oh, sorry. It cut out for a second. It seems to be back. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, sorry. That question cut out for a second.
I was just gonna ask, do you have any specific examples of OU fans being OU fans? Because the tweet I found of yours was the one where you were saying I already hate OU fans. Like they haven't really. I completely understand. Don't get me wrong, but
well, no,
I'd love to hear a specific example.
I'm just shocked by how many OU fans are showing up on like any tweet that I'm not even mentioning Oklahoma, so I don't even know what they're searching to find tweets, and they're all these like 90 follower morons with 8 digits on their end of their name, so there might not even be real people. But like, it's just amazing how many of them have shown up out of nowhere to respond to everything. So
anything.
Like I tweeted that in annoyance, and it wasn't like any specific example. Just about like 5 tweets in a row about Utah's chances. I've had just response from. I have no idea how the hell they found me or where they're coming from.
Or they like to bring up statistics that don't really exist because I know there's out there that do that.
Well, and I know the debate is 100% legitimate. Like, obviously, there's arguments to both of the teams. If Georgia loses and they both win, like it's a legitimate debate. It's just these dudes like dropping by, not wanting to have any real conversation, just like smart ass comment and running away, and that's all. Like, I was just surprised how many of them shown up out of nowhere.
No, I literally when I was trying to find somebody to interview, I literally went on Twitter and looked up Utah fan, and your tweet popped up, and I saw that you had said that OU fans are pretty annoying, and I was like, man, no, that's definitely somebody I want on, especially talking to an OU fan. That'd be great.
Right, so that was all. Like, that was it. It was just, I'm just shocked by how many times it's happened in the last week.
I mean, could be worse. Alabama fans are still trying to say that they have a shot at the playoff.
Right, which is laughable.
No, it's stupid. how Alabama feels like they could be the only team to ever to be a 2-loss team and make a playoff.
Right. Yeah. Well, and then like Paul Feinbaum goes on SportsCenter and tells him it, like strokes that ego. Like it's ridiculous.
The only person I can really stand on SportsCenter, like when it comes to college football, is probably Joel Klatt because he's more pro the not so SEC, Big Ten schools. He's more on Clemson. I didn't say the ACC because Clemson is the ACC, Pac-12, and Big Ten. I know he gave a lot of respect to Utah after beating Colorado the way they did. I mean, Colorado isn't great, but I guess when you quarterback out of school, you gotta give them respect no matter how bad they are.
Well, right, and Utah, like it's not about their winning. You're right, Colorado's not great. It's about how they're winning right now. I think style points is Utah's best argument. Like they win by 30 points, and it could have been more than that. They don't play any starters for the last quarter. Like it, style points is the argument for Utah. Obviously, how they've looked in winning the last 2 months.
45-15. Yeah, that's pretty good. Meanwhile, I mean, the only difference between OU and Utah is the strength of schedule. But honestly, I feel Utah's still going to get in if they beat Oregon, just for the sheer fact that we haven't had a Pac-12 representative in 3 years?
Yeah, 2016 was the last time.
Yeah. Who was it? Was it
Washington in 2016?
Washington. Gotcha. I think Washington's pretty good. Honestly, I thought Utah was going to lose that game because I did watch that game live. I'm not going to pretend like I knew anybody that was doing anything, but I was watching that game live, and Washington played them pretty good for the first 3 quarters, and then Utah kind of walked away with it.
Right, and Utah's had some slow start. Even at a Colorado game, Colorado was up 7-0 at the end of the first quarter. And then Utah just does what they do and runs away with games.
I really just have one more question. And it's I'm not poking fun at your age here, but when we were talking last night, you told me that you're 35, and you did call yourself old. So,
right, that's
what does
fair.
it mean? What does it mean for your generation to see younger people like me to try to get into sports media and talk about sports more? Because I feel like it's more lean towards your age kind of development where everybody's 35 and older. Like,
well, I think unfortunately for you and for anyone trying to do the same stuff, it's almost a dying industry, and especially with we talk about obnoxious pound the table SEC honks, but that's who still has jobs. Sports Illustrated's cutting a bunch of jobs. Like SportsCenter's dropped everyone. It's not just an opinion piece hack, and I think that's what's going to be hard. Is that, but young people also have the benefit of understanding new mediums and podcasts and the new technology that old people don't understand. So they'll be able to adjust. And I listen to talk radio. I watch SportsCenter. There needs to be someone to replace Stephen A. Smith, hopefully sooner than later.
If I hear him say one more bad thing about Baker Mayfield, that's my quarterback.
So,
but really, I hope to have. I actually was gonna ask you if you wanted to come on again here pretty soon. I kind of wanted to talk to you after the final playoff rankings come out, and whoever gets that spot. And I just want to thank you again. I'm gonna put your Twitter your Twitter link in the bio. Hopefully, everybody goes and checks it out. I read some of your stuff, and it kind of helped me understand where Utah was at. But I'm still no U fan.
Well,
so
right,
I got to root for you to make that. But I do wish y'all luck against Oregon. Hopefully, pretty soon. I guess Sunday. We'll see who gets in, and
Right. We'll
I'll try
know
to have you
everything
on next
Sunday
week sometime.
morning. Yeah. Shoot me a text and let me know.
All right. Again, thank you for coming on. Thank you for
Welcome.
helping me out.
Have a great one.
Say howdy, y'all. God. Howdy, y'all. Howdy, y'all.
Howdy, y'all. It's your boy Riley.
Alright.
Huh?
What's up? What are you doing?
It's recording.
That's my phone.
Talking about this one?
Yeah, and talk about that one.
Huh? What are you doing?
I'm making a podcast.
What?
Yeah.
Why
It's
you
my
wanna
first
do?
one.
Why you wanna do that?
I don't know, man. It's
What you been watching?
videos.
It's your boy Matty